up with the question. I have come up with a question, but yeah, I think it would be nice to start off with that. What are they in the first place?
So context, what is this all about?
Yeah, what is this? Yeah.
Okay. So big picture wise, what we do is we develop creative tools for learning and development. So the core of it, the essence, is using pictures, photos for coaching, for development. So whether it's coaching, training, facilitation, one-on-one, or in a group setting, it can be used. So that is the big picture of it.
Okay, can you give some examples of rather than example of case? Can you show us the pictures and whatnot?
Oh, of course. I didn't bring the other tools. This is the third baby of points of view. It's called Faces.
Okay.
The difference is this is a very different tool.
Okay.
The first two are based on metaphors.
Okay.
So common themes that are happening in our life. For example, love, intimacy, leadership, difficulty, all of that, habits. So there are pictures and there are words. So sometimes the picture comes together with the word. Sometimes the pictures and the words are separate. And there is a slight connection.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there's a... Hold on, your network connection suddenly got worse for a while.
Okay.
And mine also got worse for a while. Hold on.
Okay. It says connected, but okay, I see you, but it's a little bit pixelated.
It's yeah, suddenly the connection is very bad. My Wi-Fi is good. Okay. Yeah. Mine is also now very bad.
It is what it is. Okay, mine's back at 5 bars now.
Okay, let's give moments further.
Boleh.
I think right now, many people think.
Right? Especially with the work from home, then everyone's
yeah, it's like when I do live sessions, right? None of this happens. This doesn't happen at all. So it's like full bar all the way.
Okay.
Okay, it looks like audio is good. Just video. Let's just proceed with the. Let's just proceed with the audio. Okay.
Boleh. You were asking a question just now?
Yeah, I was asking that, like, what is point of view? How does it work?
Right. So the what part, I've given you a small explanation.
So we are using pictures to do coaching.
Yes, coaching, training, facilitation, all of that.
Okay.
Yes. So for example, it can be used in any situation where you want to develop people, whether it's yourself or even developing others. So for example, people come in for two reasons. One is the professional side. Okay, I'm someone who develops others. So I want to learn how to use the tools to use it on myself and other people. And some people come in purely for the personal development side. And for example of where it's used, our colleagues in the Philippines, they are using it with teenagers. So they are using it at most of the high schools in the Philippines to prevent teen suicide, unwanted teen pregnancy, and also bullying.
Right. Hey, hold on a minute now. It's now the voice also starting to become pixelated. You can see your connection bar, right? My bar
Mine is at 4 bars out of 5.
Mine says 1 of 10.
Mine
is 1 out of 10. Yours is...
Oh, okay.
Yours is...
Oh, mine is 1 out of 10 as well.
Right. So what do we do? Shall we restart the stream? Let's try restarting. Yeah, let's try restarting the stream. Oh, wait a minute. I can see your video now.
Okay. I see your face pixelated. I can see you pointing.
But at the very least, we are moving. You know, it's like...
Yes, okay. Yeah, just now I wasn't moving at all. Oh, now it's 3 out of 10. Hey!
Okay, good. Let's proceed. Okay, let's proceed. Okay. All right. Yeah. So a question that I am arising is actually how does looking at pictures show us who we are? Like, I'm really curious.
Okay. The essence of it is the principles of phototherapy.
What is phototherapy?
Using photos for therapy purposes. So we're using the same art of using pictures in terms of developing people. So we don't, for me as a coach, I don't do it in the way that therapists do it. I do it as a way of how a coach would do it.
Okay. Okay.
And how it works. Basically when with the photos, in a coaching setting typically, it takes weeks sometimes to touch the core of the issue. Because people will come in with a presenting symptom, okay, this is what I want to work on, but usually there is something beneath.
Okay.
And sometimes it takes a few weeks to touch what is the core of it.
Okay. So if I get this correctly, it's actually Rorschach.
In
Kind
a
of like
way,
Rorschach.
because like projection in
Yeah.
that sense.
So you see everything through the lens of your consciousness. So therefore, when we use pictures, right, we are looking at how does the person interpret the picture.
Absolutely.
Okay, and then you as a coach would reflect what the interpretation means about the person.
Means. Sometimes some people do.
Uh-huh.
I rarely do. I just ask more questions and then they go, oh. So
Okay.
it's to get them to see the picture more.
Okay, cool.
Because the more you see, the more you will get for yourself. And some people see a
Cool. I'm
lot,
excited
some people see very little.
Understand.
And both are perfect. The invitation is to
Okay.
see more. Because points of
Okay.
view is a pun on point of views.
Okay.
This is my one point of view. This is the only way the world works. I am right. Everyone else who has a different opinion is wrong. And when someone else has a different point of view, I'm right, he's wrong. And then he believes he's right, I'm wrong. And if we're both men, we might get physical and then we might get into a fist fight with each other.
Right.
And that's a micro view. On a macro scale, that's how wars start.
Okay.
I am right, you're wrong. I'm going to conquer you.
Yeah, essentially all conflicts can happen from conflicting beliefs.
Yeah.
Mm.
And in points of view, the core is no judgment, no expectations.
Which is the reason why like I'm such a strong believer of this of not believing. I try not to believe in anything. That is an important thing for me. Although it's very hard lah. Anyway, let's move on. So how you were saying about how does it work before I rudely interrupt you?
Oh, you didn't really interrupt. It was part of the conversation.
Okay.
So
So
you're exactly right. It's in a way Rorschach, or in a way blankly projection. This is how I see the world. Through this picture, this is what I see. This
got
is
it.
how I see.
You're right. So just now you asked me to come with an area of myself that I would like to explore. So I've come prepared. But before that, right, like actually, how do you decide which area of ourselves to explore? You know, like
That's a good
you,
question.
yeah, because like you said, a lot of people they come, they like to work on the surface level things, man. So like for the people who are listening in, how do they decide what area for them to work on? Oh, and just as a context, every time in the morning when I do my Facebook live, right, when I do my journaling, I always ask myself one question that I don't really want to ask, and I think for some reason that felt very important because if we continually ask the wrong question, we get the wrong answer. We ask wild goose chase question, we get nowhere. So how do we decide which area of ourselves to explore?
Coming back to the no judgment, no expectation part, because the right question or wrong question is a judgment.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
if we just let it open and start where we are and see where it takes us, there is value in that. So what is meaningful right now is this one. And it might not be the core of it. That's fine.
Okay.
Because when we start here and then we explore, eventually the truth will come.
So anything goes.
Anything that is meaningful and important goes.
Okay.
For you right here, right now.
Okay, good. But I have another question on this, is because it's like for anyone who is, I'm not sure how is it similar to other people, but for myself, right, the more contemplative I become, the more I realize the level of activity that happens in my mind, you know, and I can literally say that, you know, in the past, with all the suppressed background noises, you're not aware of what is meaningful. So it's only what I think is meaningful right now. But the more contemplative I become, I start to realize actually, wow, what is meaningful for me right now, 5 minutes later is completely no relevance anymore. And that is meaningful now. And then when I really become meditative, right, that 5 minute changes to 1 minute, and it could change to like every second it's all change, So like in this situation, how do I decide? Like right now.
You already touched it. This is what is meaningful right here, right now, and it might change later. And that is perfect. We stay
So
with what is here first.
so it doesn't matter if, let's say, the later is like 3 seconds later. So while I give you a question, and then as you are talking 3 seconds later, I was like, hey, actually that one doesn't matter anymore. Then how?
That's perfect. Because in a way, you are refining the question for yourself.
Right.
And you're by that refining, you are getting more precise.
Okay.
And it evolves as it goes.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Okay.
no judgment, not even on yourself.
Okay. Cool. So let's explore a question, or rather, let's explore an area. So deep lately, like the last time we had a call, I actually talked about how I want to be more accepting and whatnot.
Right.
So there was one lecture by, there's this guy called Jiddu Krishnamurti, which I watched on YouTube, and he talked about what is meditation. And interestingly enough, I mean, there are so many people in the world who talks about what is meditation, right? They constantly teaching meditation, and this guy is recognized as one of the more prolific thinkers in India of the 20th century. So just a quick background story of this guy. So in the 1800s, towards the end of the 1800s, there was this foundation of philosophers who got together, and they said to themselves, what if we start training a thinker from a very young age? So they want to conduct human experiments into doing that, right? So they started to look all over the world for a suitable child to download all the information, all of the philosophies from a very young age. They subject this person to intense spiritual training, using all of the logics of the Indian logicians, combined with whatever else that is that they can think of, you see. So their hopes is to create something they call the world teacher. So this kind of teacher is the kind of teacher which will come and they will elevate the entire human consciousness because it's so great. So after many decades of training, they said, okay, you are ready now. So this guy, having been so crammed full of information and knowledge, and by the way, you if you go and listen to him talk, right, you'll notice he's like super very powerful person actually. In many facets of, in many sense of the word, they actually succeeded in creating something like that. But the problem is, he said, okay, we're gonna he accepted the presidency of the association. He stood on the podium and he said, we're gonna disband this organization. The world teacher does not exist. So he was a radical. Anyway, yeah, he was a radical. He said, like, you guys are looking for an authority, and he said that I maintain. He said, I maintain that truth is a pathless land. You cannot get to the truth by using authority, which is the reason why, like in coaching and things like that, we come to realize that we are not teaching things to people because we also have our own baggage and things like that. So anyway, coming back to this question, right? He talked about how meditation is not, what meditation is not. So he said the meditation is not about controlling your mind. It's not about wrestling with it or things like that. He said, he used a very interesting word. He said that meditation is about being meditative. Simple as that. And being meditative is, he used this phrase, choiceless awareness. And which means that I am aware, but I don't choose to do anything about it. And I don't even choose to do anything about it. And the first time I heard that, it was like, wow, very mind-boggling. And I've been thinking about this question for a really long time, ever since I heard that talk. It's like, it makes perfect sense to me. And and I really want to have that ability to be able to see things and accept things the way it is. I'm aware, but I don't want to have any choice about what I'm aware of. So my question is, how can I be choicelessly aware?
That's a deep word.
Yeah, it is.
And, in a way, like what you shared just now, the word neti comes to be.
What is
Uh,
neti neti?
neti is I think in India, in the Hindu religion, they say this is what God is not. Not this. Neti.
Yeah, the Hindu traditions, right? They make a habit. Hindu and Buddhist traditions, they make a habit out of using negative words, because it's like when you are down or anything like that, you need inspirational words, right? But once you're sufficiently inspired, you don't need any more further inspiration words. They talk about the negative things. So they talk about destruction. They talk about dissolution, which is where I'm at right now, which is like I don't really want to. I don't really need more encouragement or motivation or things like that. I just need to know what is not. So anyway, I'm going on a tangent. Please go ahead.
There's relevancy as well.
Okay.
Because in a way you mentioned, I'm on this path of destroying what is not, or what gets into the way.
Ye- hmm. I think so. I think so.
So would a more precise question instead of how can I be choicelessly aware is what gets into the way of me being choicelessly aware, and how do I let go or destroy that?
Hmm. Yep. Let's do that. Let me change the question. What was the question again?
Uh, what gets into the way of me being choicelessly aware?
In the way of me being choicelessly aware. Okay, I'm gonna add the caption here.
Okay.
There you go. This thing is amazing. By the way,
Yes, I saw that you can put comments there. I'm like, oh wow.
yeah, yeah. Oh, someone asked this question, so I'm gonna show this question first.
Okay.
Oh shit! They asked like 10 minutes ago. I didn't even see.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's perfect. Hello.
we'll answer anyways. Just like for those people who are watching. So, how many perspectives
Yes.
do you think there are in a single situation or image?
That's such a beautiful question. In in what we do in points of view, this is the belief in the work we do. In every single situation, in every single person, in every single image, there is an infinite point of view. And by that itself, it means there's nothing wrong, there's nothing right. It's just different. There are countless different points of view, and it's just a matter of what works for you right here, right now. If you notice, I'm holding on to this point of view and it's not working for me. I'm suffering, and then this is getting into the way of what I want. Then I have a choice. Okay, this isn't it. And when we expand, now that I have 2 points of views, I have a choice. Because before this, no choice. One point of view, I'm stuck. I'm a victim of the world. But when we expand our point of view, we get to choose. So infinite point of view, choose what works for you. That is the points of view way.
Hey, hold on. Sorry to interrupt this, but
Go ahead.
I'm gonna mute myself for a while because
Okay.
someone. This is one thing that we're gonna talk about, but there is some emergency on the call. Hold on.
Okay, you take care of what you need to. For the 3 people watching, we'll be right back. We have 2 more viewers. Just to update a little bit, Felix has an emergency that he's taking care of, and he will be right back with us very soon. Hi, Prestige. My pleasure. It's a very beautiful way of seeing the world, and it's choosing the power of choice that really is the key. Are there any questions before Felix comes back and joins us? Ah, I think only Felix can pin the comments. So Prestige says, I used to have a thought that there are three ways of looking into situations, and I find it hard to see further than that. Can you elaborate a little bit more of what are the three ways of looking at a situation? Would love to hear from your perspective. Hi, Calvin. This white shirt guy, my name is Leon. Nice to meet you. Today we are talking about points of view. It's a tool using phototherapy principles. So we use pictures for take out your shirt. I'll keep my shirt on, thank you.
Oh my God. Okay, hey, I am here.
Hello. I was conversing with your viewers, Prestige and Calvin.
Thank you. Thank you for conversing with my viewers. This is probably one area for me to explore. I can't stand this triggers me. You know what happened? So it's like those you order from Lazada or order from Shopee, and they don't call you first. They don't call you. They never
Okay.
call you, and they just expect you to be home, and they just expect you to be ready to accept their parcel. So
Right.
it's like it's so yeah. So just now the guy calls me like 5 times, and my phone is on the side. It's like it's ringing nonstop.
Okay.
And I try to and I try to tell him that I'm on a live stream and I can't go down to collect the stuff. And he's like, but how your stuff is here already? And I said I'll be ready in about 1.5 hours. Huh? 1.5 hours? But I'll be very far away. I was like, it's your problem lah. And then he asked me again, but it's I will be very far away. Oh my God.
That's one point of view.
That is one point of view indeed, you know. So it's so weird. I don't understand why they don't just call. You see, this is one irrationality which I can't be with. It's quite frustrating for me. And at the same time, you know, when random number calls your phone 10 times, you're not sure whether it's going to be an emergency or is it from Lazada or anything like that, you see?
Right.
Yeah, so I'm like, you. Okay, cool. So, Prestige Artist says, I don't know what the guy, what's your real
Okay.
name actually, but Prestige, the glass theory, it could
Okay,
be
that's
half full or half empty, or how much I need to go top up to make it full. Okay, cool.
That was the three perspectives. Prestige was sharing that I have three perspectives, and it's hard for me to see beyond that.
Mm,
So now it's three.
mm,
And in points of view, it's infinite. So how we are using phototherapy to see more is really explore, look at the picture, and then see what comes out. And with the glass theory, it's a theory. It's structured. There are three ways. This is the three parts. There is some value in that, and it can serve because some of our structured processes ask questions based on this. What is your cup half full now? What is your cup half empty? What is the gap or the topic that you want to work on? And we explore that through a photo. So in every single question, we explore it with the photo. So we expand with the question. So there are many ways of doing it. Today we'll play with one photo for Felix.
Okay. Cool.
And I mentioned metaphors on the previous two tools, the coaching game and punctum. But this baby is very different. It's a deeper tool, sometimes a little bit more difficult to use, because this tool is based on archetypes. Are you familiar with archetypes?
I heard of it, and there's the thing is like many schools of thought have different definitions of archetypes.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's it'll be nice to hear your definition of archetypes.
Okay, mine is very simple.
Okay.
It is patterns in human behaviors.
Hmm.
So, for example, if you think of a warrior, you have a certain image in mind. If you think of a caregiver, a certain image comes up. Those are archetypes, patterns that we see. And in every single person, we have all the archetypes within us. It's just which ones are tuned up, we can see visibly, which ones are tuned down, it's not very visible, some are suppressed. And when we suppress them, those are the shadows, the parts of us that we hide or we judge that are not okay. And when we do that, we lock away the gifts that they bring to us. So there is when we look at our shadows or bring them into light, they no longer become shadows. And we can then choose to integrate them within us. Then we unlock the potential that is locked away.
So in this sense, does it mean that there are many like infinite kind of archetypes, possible archetypes?
There's many. For points of view, they selected about 60-ish.
60-ish. Wow. Okay. Cool. Great.
We won't work on the names, the reflection cards. Those are the word cards.
Yeah.
I'll show you the two.
Okay. Let's do that. Let's go in. Yeah.
So there are many things in here.
Yeah.
But the core of it is black and white portraits of human beings. There are 99 black and white portraits, and the reason they are in black and white is when you photograph in color, you see their fashion sense, their taste in fashion. But when you take a photo in black and white, you see their soul. So, images meant to capture different percentiles of the human race. So from young to old, from male to female to different races. It's meant to capture the population of the entire world. And the faces is really seeing ourselves through others.
I have a question.
Yes, go ahead.
So one of the key things that I've learned, or rather people say about spirituality, or at least, those gurus lah. Especially Sadhguru, that's the person I listen to the most. He talked about spirituality is about seeing things the way it is, rather than through a certain lens. And and the more developed someone is spiritually, the more they are able to see things the way they are, rather than through meanings. And that is the reason why he said, we got to understand atheists are not spiritual. They cannot be spiritual because they believe that there is no God. And likewise, theists as well cannot be spiritual because they believe that there is a God. So when you are full of belief systems and conclusions about things, how can you be spiritual? So that's his premise. So bringing into here, right? Does it mean then, if I am fully enlightened and I see things the way it is, then this one doesn't work on me?
Not necessarily.
Okay. Because it would be interpreting, so,
Interpreting. In a way, it's what comes out for you right here, right now.
Okay. So I guess this one can be used. I mean, if what Sadhguru said is true, then if it is true, because I try not to believe him as well.
What
It's
paradoxes you live in.
let me tell you this, like listening to Sadhguru is not easy, because it's like if you're looking for quick answers, but when you reach a certain progress in his works, it's very hard. Like he said, don't look up to anything, but you can't help but to look up to him. So it's like you try not to look up to him, and then he said, don't believe anything. But what he said is so logical and so true. So it's very hard not to believe in him, you know. So you try not to believe nor disbelieve, and it's like, okay, just be with the question, be okay with not knowing. So anyway, if what he says is true, then this would be a proper litmus test to know to see how far we've come in terms of spirituality. But we gotta be very honest with ourselves, lah. If let's say there's something definitely holds a meaning, we don't try to suppress that. And so you have my commitment as we are doing this. If let's say certain meanings do come up, I will not suppress that. I will just allow the meanings to happen. But I will go in introspective mode to really see whether or not am I trying to suppress anything. So I might delay my responses a little bit.
Boleh.
Okay.
And for some people, because today we're playing it through Zoom, through this webinar format,
Yeah.
usually I lay on the floor or
Mm.
lay in front of you, so you can see all of it and you can pick.
Mm.
But today with limited technology, limited physical contact, what I will do is I will shuffle the cards and you tell me when to stop.
Okay.
And
Can.
the one on the top will be your card.
Okay. Can.
And before we go into this, two things.
Mm.
Because you mentioned just now, would it work or would it not work?
That
Not so
wasn't
much.
that wasn't my question.
Okay, sorry. The enlightened being, would there be meanings attached? Was that the question?
No, like if I can see things the way it really is, rather than through lenses, then there wouldn't be any meanings attached to it. So if there's no meanings attached to it, like how will this work?
We can explore.
We can explore. Cool.
And for some people, when they pick the card, some resonate and connect immediately with the card. Some people, I'm not connected with the card.
You see my art. It's like I connect with the most weirdest things.
And both are perfect because that in itself says something. Everything is something. So the question is, what gets into the way of me being choicelessly aware? And can you redefine the term choicelessly aware for us again?
So being choicelessly aware, it's about being aware of things. The problem with being aware of things is that the more you're aware of, unless you're stable, the easier it is to get unsettled. As an example, a baby lives in ignorance. A baby is peaceful, very peaceful, right? But there is because the baby sees everything the way it really is, rather than through interpretation. But being aware of more dimensions of ourselves is like, okay, this is me, that's not me, and this is my mom, this is my dad. There's a separation. The more this person learns life. I'm not sure if that's a term. Learns life, not about life, but learns life literally. The more aware this person becomes, and sometimes people are broken from this awareness. You see, it's like as an example, when someone sees the kind of treatment that animals take, now that they are aware, they cannot accept this anymore. And some people they choose to take the responsibility of being a vegan, while some people, I literally see this happening. Like there are so many vegans who talk about how being a vegan helps you emotionally, but they themselves are full of resentment, they're full of bitterness, they're full of vendetta, against humanity. So it's like now they side with the animals, they are against humanity. So that's very weird as well, right? And then some people are like, in a relationship. Yesterday we just talked about relationship. If I'm going steady with someone, and I'm in an exclusive relationship with someone, and then I found out that this lady or this girl has cheated on me. So now I'm aware of this dimension, but can I be in acceptance of it. Because if I'm not in acceptance of it, then there's going to be emotional turmoil within me, and I will go and fight lah, go and punch this guy lah, or do something to this lady lah, then but that is not logical, because none of those things actually help me. In fact, it only serves to propagate my problem. So being choicelessly aware means that in all dimensions of life, in all the dimensions of self, internally, externally, how can I be aware and choose to remain choiceless?
The word that you used just now to describe choicelessly aware was acceptance.
It's different a bit. There's a slight difference.
How so?
Acceptance is different from surrender. That means to be choiceless. To be choiceless is, I think, to accept means to just accept things the way it is, but to choiceless means to submit to to what is.
So in a way, it's what gets into the way of me surrendering to what is.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
We've gotten more precise.
Yeah. But although I'm sure that I think there is a reason why Jiddu Krishnamurti used choiceless rather than surrender. I'm sure of it. I'm not sure. I'm trying not to make any conclusion, but based on my observations, Jiddu JK is very, very articulate. He's a very precise person. Like every word, if you read his letters and things like that, right? He's an extremely articulate and intelligent person. He used everything very precisely. So the fact that he never used the word surrender, I think means something. So but for now, surrender is what I understand. So let's just go with that.
All right, we're exploring what's true for you.
Yeah.
Rather than for him.
Yeah.
Okay. So what gets into the way of me surrendering to what is? So I will shuffle and you tell me when to stop. And I'm aware there's a lag time, but trust the process.
Okay. So I'll ask you to stop whenever lah.
Yes.
Stop.
Okay.
Before you open, so there's a question. Does it mean that to know but to not do anything about it, acceptance, surrender, or ignore? Yeah, I know the difference between acceptance and surrender. I think that acceptance is like it happened and then only I can accept. But surrender is proactively surrendering. It's like before something even happened, I already accept.
In a way, there's not even the element of proactiveness. It just is. I don't need to do anything.
It's like
it's to surrender.
In ancient times, if my city is under attack, and if I'm defeated, I cannot surrender. I can only surrender before I'm defeated.
I feel that distinction is between like helplessly surrender.
Yeah.
Or like I give up, or
that is defeat.
I surrender.
Yeah,
that is defeat.
Yeah, that is
but
defeat.
The surrender that you're talking about has a different.
Yeah, it's a different element. It is more empowering. It is significantly more empowering because it's like, oh, you want to attack my country? Is it okay? Let me go and talk to you first. So I go and talk, and then it's like, oh, okay. So this is what you want, Is this everything you want? And then go and take a look at it. Okay, I can figure out a way for you to get what you want, so that I don't, without affecting what I want. Okay, surrender to you. Okay, lah, can lah. So there's no need to conflict in the first place. Acceptance is like it's something is already happening. Oh, sorry, I accept. In other words, I need to accept first before I surrender.
Okay.
I think acceptance is a being, surrender is a doing, and ignoring I think is a completely different thing altogether. It's like I don't know. I don't know. I don't
Don't
know.
want to see.
I don't want to say.
It's there, but I don't want to see it.
Country under attack. No, no, no. Country is not under attack.
Right.
Yeah.
True.
Anyway, I hope that answers the question. But choicelessly aware is very powerful. The moment I heard it, it's like it hits me to be aware, but to be choiceless in the face of awareness. I cannot go in further into that. Don't have the experience yet, but let's just do that first. Let me just change the thing.
Okay.
What can I do to what gets in the way? What gets in the way of me surrendering? It's not 100%, but are you sure we should use this?
What is the missing part?
I do not know. I like choicelessly aware resonates a lot more than surrendering to what is.
We stay with choicelessly aware.
Okay lah. Then we should say just. All right. So I just now I asked you to stop already. So what's next? What do we do next?
I have your face in front of me,
Okay.
and the first thing I want you to notice is what is your initial reaction to seeing this card?
Okay.
All right. And 3, 2, and
Okay. You want my
I see
reaction?
there's a smile.
Yeah, it's like wow, so Yao Ying one this guy.
Yao Ying.
It's so cool, right? It's like like that. This is a bad boy.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, subsequent impression is that this is a bad boy. This is a rebel. But at the same time, this person is not really fighting.
He's not
That's
really fighting.
yeah, he's just minding his own business,
How does that relate to your question today?
I have no idea. Nothing is coming up. Kosong.
Cool. Because you mentioned the word, he's not really fighting.
Because
How does-
I say that because the second impression he have is he's a rebel ma. The problem with rebels is that rebels fight without a cause unless it's like there is a thing. So so prestige artist says he feels he's in pain and giving up.
It's
Yeah,
perfect. Same card, different point of view.
different point of view. So for me, it's like, well, first impression is what, so Yao Ying won this guy, and then the second impression
So
he's a
cool.
rebel. He's a rebel, and then the second thing is like at the same time he's not fighting. So he's like he has a flavor of a rebel, but rebels are fighting something ma. But this guy he's not really fighting.
Yes. How does like the no need to fight relate to the question today?
Well, that is being choicelessly aware.
It is.
That he's being choicelessly aware. I think so.
How so?
Because he's not fighting. He's a rebel, but he's not fighting. But then again, there's a problem here because he's choosing not to fight. So that's a choice as well. To be choicelessly aware goes more deeper than that.
What is the deeper element that connects to the question?
Me no know lah. Really don't know.
Through this photo?
The more I stare at it, the less meaning I derive from it. It's like it's losing its significance the more I look at it.
That's perfect too.
I cannot answer your question lah. Now my mind is completely blank.
Maybe that's progress. If this person could speak to you about your question today, what would this person say?
Well, this person wouldn't say anything unless I first ask a question, because he's very busy minding his own business.
And let's say
Or
you
rather,
stop him and say, hey, what gets in the way of me being choicelessly aware? What would this person answer?
you're too full of yourself.
What else would he say?
He would just stop it there.
And if you ask him, hey, can you elaborate a little bit about what do you mean I'm too full of myself?
He wouldn't say anything.
And how would you reply?
I wouldn't say anything as well.
And what did you get from what he said? That you are too full of yourself?
It is an experience. It's hard to describe. It's hard to put into words. Actually, I'm not even sure if it can be put into words. But the intellectual, the head knowledge of this is, being too full of myself means that I feel it is my burden, or it is down to me to cause it to happen, which is also a realization, because being choicelessly aware means I am nobody. I should be nobody. I should be nobody. So it's in the Hindu, in the Vedic traditions, or rather the Vedantic traditions, being a nobody, body means both the mind and the body. So there is the gross body, which is the physical body, and then there's the subtle body, which is comprised of emotions and whatnot. Being no body means to be completely insignificant. So the being too full of yourself means you're holding yourself more significant than you really are. So in other words, it's a form of ego. It is actually a ego. The reality of it is that none of us is actually anybody. It's like we are a speck within a speck within a speck within a speck, and somehow we feel that we are all of that, right? So him not responding anything, not saying anything, is a reminder to me that there's actually no need for him to say anything, and then there's also no need for me to say anything as well, because it is understood.
Wow. And from your sharing just now, the word that stood out was ego.
Yeah.
How does ego relate to the question today?
All there are, like, ego relates to everything, isn't it? Ego is the lens by which we see everything. So in my progress to dissolve my ego, this is still coming in the way, and I think I don't know. I think there's no answer maybe to the question I'm asking, but it's more like a constant training, constant reminder whenever, and being aware at every point in time whenever the ego comes up.
So it's being aware when the ego comes up.
I think JK mentioned something like this as well. He said that someone asked him a question. I forgot what was the question, but his answer was, "You simply have to be present and aware all the time. And he also followed that up by saying that that's actually much more sounds much easier than it really is. I think someone asked him a question about self-realization and enlightenment. Yeah, it's like, how do you actually become? How do you? He said, just be aware. Sadhguru, when he was a kid, right? One of his quirks was that he is like, when he pays attention to something, he really pays attention to it, to the point where it's like nothing holds any meaning anymore. He's just busy looking at something. So he can stare at a leaf, and for hours he can stare at the leaf. He looks at you for hours. He can stare at you. And just no, no sound, nothing. So that is the level of awareness, and not just that, but there's various other masters also talk about being aware and really paying attention to something. So I think it's a matter of constantly choosing to be choiceless, aware, choicelessly aware.
The word that stood out for me was presence and mindful.
It's weak. Mindful it cannot capture the essence of choicelessly aware. No. It cannot be. It cannot be. To be mindful is a necessary stage, but it is complete antithesis to being choicelessly aware. Because the problem of the need to make a choice itself, the need to make a choice itself, come from the mind rather than the intellect. The need. I'm not talking about a choice to unchoose. I'm talking about need to choose. It's like a fight, flight, freeze, that mode, that compulsions, the reactions. That is not the need of the intellect. That is the need of the mind, to be constantly in activity to survive, either to get food or to run away from danger or do something. So it's actually, rather than be mindful, I need to be mindless. Is to constantly choose to be mindless.
What does it mean to be mindless for yourself?
No ego lah. Ego comes from the mind.
So let go of the ego.
It's very easier said than done. If letting
Of course.
go, if letting go of the ego is the answer, everyone on planet Earth would be enlightened by now.
That is true.
But yeah, it's a dissolution of the mind. It's breaking down, and be mindless, be a void, be zero. Someone asked a question: is it right for me to say it this way, to being choicelessly aware? Dropping all your knowledge that you've learned through the years, to stop thinking, judging, but looking at things on a simpler perspective, and trust in the power of nature to overcome whichever situation that is happening around, rather than choosing to act. I would say yes, but the problem is it's much more easier said than done again. It is what Christians refer to as in the hands of God. It's in God's hand. Yeah.
What is the distinction of that in God's hand? How does it relate to this question?
To answer this question, to answer the question of what is the distinction of that, is like, we need to first understand what God is. And it is much more simpler to say what God is not rather than what God is. God is not a person, because what is God? Like one of the most deepest comprehensions of what God is, right? Come from this line: beyond time, beyond the universe. Sorry, beyond time, beyond the physical. So it is omnipresent, omnipotent, omniscient. So if that is the case, right, then how can we put in physical words what God is? So rather than the closest analogy to it, or rather the closest descriptive of it, is what God is not. So God is not a person. He's not a big man, giant man sitting in the heavens waiting to judge. But it is something which is ever present. When I see you, hate knowledge says I should see God. I don't see God, but based on theory, it's just like how Albert Einstein conceptualized general relativity to theory, but we can't put it into application until such days where technology is sufficiently advanced enough. Until then, we have the hate knowledge that this E equals mc square. In such a way, I can say that God is not, but God is you. You are God. I am God. We are all gods. We're not gods. We are all God without the S. So in the hands of God means what is. Things will follow. Things will follow. Things will fall into place in its natural sequence. So in what he said, the power of nature to overcome whichever situation that is happening around, rather than choosing to act. But how can you do that when, let's say, you see the person that you love getting hurt, when you see yourself getting hurt, when you see the things that you care about, that you place a lot of significance to, getting destroyed, getting damaged? How can you sit still and not judge? That is a very, very, very hard. And I would say if one is able to do that all the freaking time, this person has become Buddha lah.
Right.
So yeah.
And your key distinction is what is.
What is definitely is, yeah. But that's not
When
a but that's not a key distinction I got from this conversation. It's a key distinction that we've gained all along. It's just
yes,
again reminded.
yes.
Yeah.
Because you
To
mentioned like when my loved one is hurting, when I am hurting,
yeah.
if I can be with what is and just
Yeah.
accept it as it is,
Of course, easier said than done. And
of
it's not,
course.
yeah,
We are judgment machines. We've got it quite a good habit of it.
yeah.
And good news is it's learned.
No,
It
it's
can be.
not. How can it be learned? Because we learned this like long time ago, don't we? How often is it that we say what is? How often we say in our life, it is what it is. We've been saying it for years. Some people have been saying it for decades. We have hate knowledge.
Yes.
That
So
is
the
so it's
distinction is it's not a head knowledge, it is an embodiment. What I'm
yeah,
hearing.
yeah. So how do you acquire this embodiment? I don't think it is true learning.
That's true. The country leader of points of view. At one point, this is a sidetrack story.
Yeah,
At one point, he was hanging up the big cards on our walls before we put the paintings on the walls,
yeah,
and it was quite tedious because you have to measure exactly where the things are so you can stick the Velcro on the cardboard and also on the wall.
mm,
And he asked for my help, but I told him I won't be in the next day.
mm.
Then he was holding the big styrofoam, and he looked at me. If I have, I have. If I don't have, I don't have. And he walked away.
Was he telling you or was he telling himself?
Telling me,
Or
because
was he?
he absolutely embodies that. So for my experience, I have a direct experience of someone who accepts what is.
But if he really accepts what is, why is the need to tell you that?
Because it's to, in a way, it's also letting me see that as well. Like I developed so much from hearing that.
I see. Hmm.
It's a very cute experience. Like he just stared at me and he said, I have. If I don't have, I don't have. And then he just walked away. I stood there, my jaw just and I had a direct experience of acceptance.
Mm.
There was no doing. It was just okay. It is what it is. He didn't ask me to change or to come into the work or let's do this another day. He just did it. And the day after I came in, it's all on the wall. It's done. There was absolutely no resistance to what is. That was my experience. So if you ask me if there's anyone who embodies it, I say I've seen it, and it was a very different experience.
Well, you've seen one point,
Yes.
but to be able to maintain this state for the rest of one's life at all waking hours.
Yeah.
So how do we develop this embodiment?
That's a good question. What will be your answer to that?
Training.
In a way, practice. Because it's, like you say, it's an ongoing thing. Like, do one time. There
It's
is
like
value in
riding a bike.
experiencing.
It's like riding a bike. There's certain points where you fall, and you only fall because you're not aware. Hey, have I told you about the pirate story?
No.
No? Not here?
No. Sure.
So there was one day a pirate walked into a bar.
Okay.
And he said hi to the bartender. He said, "Hey, bartender, give me a beer." And the bartender said, "Oh, I haven't seen you in a long time. Oh my God, you look absolutely terrible. What the hell happened to you?" And he said,
Okay.
No, I'm okay. I'm doing very well. The revenues are generating. We've been hitting more ships than ever before. Things are going well. And bartender says, "What happened to your leg? Like you used to have two legs, now you have one wooden peg." And the pirate says, "Oh, the other day we were raiding one ship, and then the opponent ship fired a cannon. I couldn't get away fast enough, and then the cannonball hit my leg. It got blown off. Now I have this wooden leg, but I'm good. This wooden leg is okay. It is in some ways it's much more useful than my old leg." And then he said, what happened to your hand? You're missing one hand. You're wearing a hook right now." And he said, "Oh, the other day I was practicing sword fencing with my crewmates, and then accidentally one of them lopped off my hand. But it's okay. I got a new hook in, and in many ways it's a lot more handier. Now I don't have to have a sword. I can just hook someone." And then the guy said, "Okay, but that doesn't explain your eye. What happened to your eye? Now you're wearing an eye patch. What happened?" And then the pirate says, "Oh, the other day I was just looking up at the sky, admiring the beautiful sky, and then a bird pooped on my eye." And then the bartender said, "But I have never heard of someone going blind from a bird poop." And then the pirate says, "Oh, you see, that was the first day I wore my hook."
Okay.
Basically, the moral of the story is that it is what you're not aware of that gets you. So
But in that sense,
yeah,
he wasn't aware, but afterwards he was.
he was aware.
But there was an acceptance of what is.
Yeah, there was an acceptance of what is. Yeah. So it's like we learn how to ride a bike, or we gotta accept that we're gonna fall, and we gotta accept that we're gonna make mistakes, and in our daily interactions, especially nowadays, as I go on Facebook Live twice a day, I do all these Facebook Lives, all these sessions, and basically just being completely vulnerable, right? And I'm also being aware that there are people who accuse me of being fake, who accuse me of being, like this guy Felix. He's just trying to sound enlightened. He's just trying to sound, but I know him. I saw this. There's this one time where he did this, So the one I can be accepting of that is like, but in certain other areas, like this Lazada guy who didn't call me before he comes, and he just show up at my front door expecting me to get off my Facebook Live to go down and collect my parcel. Now this one is things that I still cannot accept. But small bits and pieces, things here and there, still bothers me a lot.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because like after the resistance of like 10 times calling you, but at the end it's still okay. I'll calm down for you. Let me come and collect the parcel.
I have been not accepting this for the past, I think, let me just unspotlight you for a while. I've been not accepting this for the past, I think, like 1 year. Ever since lockdown, I've been asking myself, it's not 1 year, right? It's 6 months. Oh, it felt like 1 year. Shit, it felt like such a long time. So it's like ever since I've been buying the stuff online, right? And these Shopee guys, these Lazada guys, they don't give a damn call, and they just show up. So I have a lot of energy on that. But things like people making fun of me and shit, I'm like completely okay with it. It's like very weird.
It's a good notice.
Who's to say what's good and what's bad?
Good is a judgment, that's true. There's value in noticing. This part I'm okay, this part, it triggers me. How come?
Yeah,
This
I've
means
been working.
there's
Yeah,
value to be true.
yeah, but I did realize one other thing. Basically, I realized that just now there was a hint. Now that we brought this up, it reminds me there was a hint that I am not in acceptance of what is the cost of not going down to collect. There was, to be honest with you and be vulnerable again, right? Is I was also afraid, because sometimes I forgot to pay my electric bills. The other day, I checked my electric bills and I noticed it's like, oh my god, it's 1,200 ringgit electric bills. And then I'll quickly go and pay. But sometimes I get so engrossed in what I do, and 3 months at a time, I just completely disregard or completely forgot about certain things. So sometimes when people call me like 10 times in a row, right, I get very concerned. It's like, hey shit, did I forgot to do something? So just now, so I was probably afraid that something happened and then we couldn't continue conversation or whatever not. But in true acceptance of being choicelessly aware is like to also accept the consequences that arise from being choicelessly aware. So I think that's probably a very important thing for me to understand and realize as well. Yeah. So just now I asked a question, actually, how do we develop choiceless awareness? How do we develop the embodiment of accepting what is? What's your take?
From what you shared just now, there's a certain flavor to it. Like the 1,000 ringgit, there was a reaction. Oh shit, 1,000 plus ringgit! I have to do something about this.
Yeah.
From the sense of choicelessly aware is okay.
Yeah.
I forgot to pay. There's 1,000 ringgit. Okay, I'll pay it.
Yeah.
There is no resistance to what is.
Mm.
Okay, I forgot. Cool. 10 calls. Or you're downstairs and you don't want to come back later. I'm on a Facebook Live. Okay, let me come down. I collect it. I come back to my Facebook Live. And sometimes you don't want to do that. Sometimes you do.
Yeah.
And it's a choice.
Yeah. The mind's compulsion is making all these emotions come up.
Yeah, we tend to create our own problems.
Yeah.
The mind creates the problems and then it wants to solve them. It's like, okay, let's create a scenario. Okay, this is bad. Okay, how do I solve it?
Yeah, we just got to get out of our own way, isn't it? Yeah. So I guess that's is the exercise over, by the way?
Yes, let's complete it. What
let's
is
complete
your main insight or takeaway for your question today?
I think it sounds like it's just a matter of training. I'm not sure if practice is the right word for it. I mean, practice is like, okay, let's practice it. Maybe it is the most accurate word. I'm not sure. Training implies more going through things with more and higher levels of intensity, whereas practicing simply means just practice. I'm not sure. I think I'll think about this. Like, which one is a more suitable beingness to carry? Practice or training? Because certain
Training
things are
sounds
more,
very effortful. Choicelessly aware doesn't sound like it has effort. It's just it is what it is.
Yeah, you're right. Maybe just practice. But if that's the case, then practice also is not is a problem, or rather, it's not really an accurate thing as well.
And the word that comes was embodiment. Because you mentioned, how do I be it?
Yeah, embodying choicelessly aware. I think this resonates a little bit. It resonates somewhat, yeah.
Cool.
Or maybe I can just say being choicelessly aware.
Simplest answer, how do I be choicelessly aware? Just be it.
Just be choicelessly
How
aware.
simple is that?
It's simple, but not easy.
But not easy. Yes.
Anyway, I think that one is another spiral already. If we really go into that, but I think that will be this. How to be choicelessly aware? Just be choicelessly aware.
In a way, through the exploration, it is just that. It is what it is.
Because the mind is constantly wanting to do things.
It does.
Yeah,
It's a pattern, habit that we've learned, built up through the years, and we notice, is this pattern serving me now, or is it no longer serving me?
yeah,
And we
yeah.
have a choice. Yeah, it's not. I can choose to let go. Or I can,
I
it's like putting on new clothes, testing it out. Okay, how does it feel like to not need to do anything? Well, not very comfortable in the first place. Later, so relaxing. Then put back the doing. Oh, okay, it's a very different feeling. Then you
yeah.
choose.
You know, when JK goes on interviews, sometimes he gets really worked up because it's so hard to explain this, and he tries in so many different ways for the interviewer to understand, and the interviewer is like they just you know many times. So he would be like, you must understand this. It's like this.
I don't accept that you're not understanding this in a way.
No, it's
And
it's,
that's
it's not. It's not that. That's not his energy. You should go and
okay.
watch his videos. That's not
Oh
his
yes,
energy.
please send it to me.
Yeah, Sadhguru talked about this before. He said that his one encounter with JK over the course of 5 days made him send his daughter to his school that he created, where the teachers are volunteers. The teachers don't get paid. And she was there. Radhe was there for I think like 12 years or so. Like basically her entire education came from that school. Um, he said that Sadhguru said that JK's words cut like knives, hurt like shit. But people go because when they are in the same room with him, they feel the love.
Mm.
They literally feel. I honestly never felt anything like that in my life. I've never been in a room where I can literally feel the love emanating from one person. I haven't been there, but I look forward to experiencing that. I mean, I did that for one to one. I experienced that with amazing coaches, but I haven't seen yet. Like, how can one person's love be emanating? It's like you go into the room, you haven't even seen the bloody person, but you feel love already. Like that. How is that even possible? I don't know. Time for like it will be a nice thing for me to experience one day.
You do it.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, I guess that's a nice note to end this off. Let's finish this session. I'm thinking of like maybe I can introduce a ritual to this. By the end of two friends on Facebook getting coffee, I can probably introduce a ritual to end this off. I don't know. There's
You're
some
evolving.
I'm evolving. I'm evolving.
Yes.
Anyway, so once again, thank you for coming in. And I'm not sure who is watching. Probably Prestige Artist is watching, still watching. Thank you so much. Thank you for staying so long in this very casual production of two friends on Facebook getting coffee. And those of you who are watching the replay, come back in. Make sure you catch my live sessions 6:30 a.m., 6:45 a.m., 6:45 p.m. every day. And Leon, if
Yes.
if if anyone wants to contact you to get to experience points of view, how can they do so?
Well, one way is to just comment below. I'll be there in the comments. You can tag me. You can add me as a friend, and then we can take it from
Yeah,
there. I would love to give you an experience. Whoever wants to taste the tools or experience it for yourself, it's very
yeah.
different from seeing it. Like telling you about it, you can grasp it, but it's like smoke. But when you experience it, this is what it is, and you can see how you want to use it, whether it's suitable for you or completely not suitable, and both are perfect.
Cool. Great. And that's that. We are gonna go off live for now. Any parting words you want to give to our audience?
Any parting words? If I have, I have. If I don't have, I don't have.
Okay, great. Until next time. Bye, guys.
Take care.